Welcome to another episode of Hoopla. It's your boy Rel. I'm here with a very special guest, one of my former teammates, Nigel and Oostrum. What's good, Nige?
What's going on? Good to talk to you again, man.
Yeah, man. So we're back for another episode. It's been a little bit, but we are providing. So pretty much Hoopla is a podcast that gives people their story of their journey of how they got to where they are in the basketball field. So not only just players, we've had like trainers, we've also had different coaches, things like that too as well, because basketball is a lot more than just playing, but you're still in the playing field, so that's why we brought you on here. So tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you started, where you played, and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm Nigel van Oostrum. I was born in Houston. Grew up in England, and I have Dutch parents, so a bit of a here and there. But I started basketball in England, played for a club team for Sheffield, grew up in Sheffield, played eventually for as a young boy, I was allowed to play with the professional team there, kind of bench warming, trying to get some experience with the teams. And from there, pardon?
Sheffield Sharks?
Sheffield Sharks, the one and only.
And Sheffield Sharks.
And from there, I kind of got talking to the American players who had recommended to go to America and play there. Obviously, coming from England, it's difficult. I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. It was well, not 15 years ago. It was difficult to get exposure to come to England to play in America. So for me, I went to prep school, Mercersburg Academy in Pennsylvania for a year as a postgrad year, and kind of to get my exposure. And then from then on, hopefully go on to college. I played there for 1 year, and then I got interest to go to Franklin Pierce. I had played there during a summer when I was 17, where we did like a summer tournament. And that's when I got talking to David Chadbourne, who had then followed me during my prep school year and had eventually offered me to come there. And I was just looking for an opportunity. So I had said yes to the first thing coming, just to be able to prove myself. And obviously that's where I met you. Unfortunately, we didn't get to play together due to the stupid NCAA rules.
We missed it by a year. I do kind of remember when y'all came to when you came to play though during the summer, because I think we had to work that. Like the whole
you did. You were the referees.
Yeah, the whole team had to work that.
Yeah. So that's when I first got to meet you guys. And unfortunately, we didn't get to play together, which really sucked. NCAA really they kind of screwed me over. They changed the rule now. Of course, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that from now on the rule doesn't affect any other players. Obviously, it sucks for me, but I was glad that I managed to play 2 years at Franklin Pierce. So not my freshman and my senior year. My sophomore and junior year, I got to play. First year was kind of it was a building year. It was a lot of people my age, so freshmen. Sophomores and juniors, a lot, but then we had Manch and Kennard as the seniors, and then the next season we kind of that was our year to kind of go for it, and that was my junior year. I think we eventually were the number 1 seed in the Northeast 10 before the tournament, and I think we had the best record we'd ever had as a college. Managed to snag get a little ring as an accomplishment, because the coach was so happy with us. And unfortunately for me, and great for the team after I left, because my senior year was kind of going to be that year, when everyone had kind of grown into their roles and moved on, and happily for my teammates who did get to play the senior year, I think they got to Elite 8.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Eric won Player of the Year. I think that was your junior and senior. I think he won junior both.
Yeah, and then we had Eric as well. I
Yeah,
forget what
that's
he
what I said, Eric. Yeah, no, Eric
got.
won. Eric won Player of the Year June. The last year you was there,
Yeah.
and then I think
No, he might have won back. Yeah, I don't think he won back to back.
he won any 10 back to back.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
he won like wasn't he like first All American first team or did he
yeah.
win?
I mean, he had some crazy achievements, man.
Yeah,
He had some crazy achievements, but I'm happy for the team that they made it that far. And then I kind of got into this weird kind of gray area where I was like, okay, did I just waste 3 years? Because my intention of going to America was kind of getting the scholarship, being able to use basketball to get a free education, and them telling me now that I was ineligible meant either going home or paying for college,
yeah,
which for me was like, okay, shit, looks like I'm going home kind of thing. Luckily enough, the NAA has a kind of different rules for my instance, and I luckily got to play my 2 more years, get my degree, so it was all worthwhile. NAIA was very different to NCAA in terms of, to be honest, it was a different level. It was a lower level.
Mm.
It felt easier. Don't want to be too arrogant about it, but it did feel a little easier. But after the whole mess with the NCAA, I kind of just wanted to get my degree and get out of there, and then pursue my professional career.
Okay. So
My,
where did you go to school after again?
I went to Kansas Park University in Kansas City.
Oh, okay, yeah, Kansas, yeah.
But yeah, it was. I mean, I was luckily nearby the city, but 10
Yeah.
feet out, you've got fields and fields and fields, and it doesn't stop. But I was lucky enough to be kind of central, so I didn't get too bored.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask like, if you think about it, you went from Rindge, New Hampshire, so it's not
Yeah,
not like you was going from
true.
Boston or something like.
True. But imagine me complaining about how empty it was in like the Kansas area after being in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
Like it was extreme, man. So I was happy that I got a bit of busyness and there was things around me to kind of keep me level-headed and keep me balanced. So I was just happy to get out. I had contact with an agent my senior year, talking about my ideas for moving on. Do I want to go the professional route, or do I want to get a job? And I really wanted to kind of see my possibilities, see where I could go. And my main offers for my first year were England, of course, and then Holland. So I had quite a few interests in Holland. For me, my first year was very tough because I had signed with Den Helder, which is a team up in North.
Mm.
They had a very successful season the season before I came, high aspirations, but they were a very young team. So they had already spent a lot of their budget. They tried to maintain that budget for the next year, signing all the pretty good players, good teams, and eventually they went bankrupt in Christmas. So I spent my first year, 6 months, not getting paid.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what am I doing, man? This is I'm people asking me, yo, you're living the dream, you're playing basketball, you're getting paid. I'm not getting paid.
Yeah. Well, you want to hear something crazy? So when I played in Germany, we were getting paid, but so like you get the Christmas break, and I was actually doing really well there. Like I was like top 3 in scoring. Like I was really
I followed you. I followed your stat.
I was really doing well there. So we go home, and they call me like, so we never paid taxes for American players ever. Like ever. They had American players for like 10 years.
That's nuts.
So the year that the government finds out is the year that I'm there. I'm like, oh, you haven't get away with this for so long. Like, so I'm like, oh shit. Like they're like, all right, we're banned from having American players. Like, it was like me and one other guy, and they're like, all right, you guys gotta go home. Like, you guys gotta stay home. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, but it's
Yeah.
just how it is. It has how it is.
Well, there's a lot of under the table paying. There's a lot of behind the doors. It's crazy.
So
but
many stories. So that's part of the reason why I also made this podcast, because there's so many people that I know that have stories, and it's like good and bad. So it's like
exactly. My first year was good because it kind of the crazy thing is we were nice. Like we were smacking teams by like 20, and the national TV kind of followed us because we were actually winning from professional teams, but we weren't getting paid.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, this is crazy. They're professionals. How are they not getting money?
Yeah.
And we had I think our final game, which was our final game. They did like a charity kind of thing. So all the fans, their ticket money would go to us. And they had a jar at the front of the door, and they were like, okay, donations for the players.
Yeah.
Which was nuts. But and our coach, one of my favorite coaches ever, he Jean-Marc Jamin, crazy Croatian, Serbian, but he also got drafted before, and he was a guard. I'm talking maybe 30 years ago, which was crazy at that time to have a European guard coming into the league. And he had broken his foot and then played in ACB, but he was nice. And we only had 6 people practicing for 3 months, and he would play with us. So he would be 3-on-3s, 4-on-4s, and he would be killing us. But but then going back to this game where where we would get the money from the fans and the jar, his mum came and donated like 200 euros into the pot. And then after the game, they said the pot went missing.
Wow.
And the funniest thing I remember is we were playing 4-on-4, and the coach, he stopped. He just walked off the court, grabbed the owner by the neck, and was just choking him out. And we were all standing like, this is my first year, so I don't know what's going on. I'm like, just sort this out, please.
Yeah.
But we kind of we broke him up, and they filed bankruptcy. And luckily, here in Holland, the government will, if you go bankruptcy, they pay the salaries off for that year for our contract.
Oh, okay.
So we eventually got our money, but at the same time, it's half the season. So what do I do now?
Yeah.
Luckily, my agent talked to a nearby team, Leeuwarden, where my family is originally from. So it kind of came out really well for me because, after being in England and America, 9 years, I haven't been to see my family. So this felt like, the perfect kind of thing for me to play basketball and also see family. So I played there half a year. I signed an extension for the following year, which was nearly my best year till then. It was a low ambition team, but I pretty much got to do whatever I want. So it was pick and rolls constantly. I wasn't letting go of the ball unless it was an assist. So but that was ideal for me because it could show my qualities, and it could, if I had ambition, I could go somewhere else because I'd get the interest from higher teams. Initially, that was my best year. I averaged 8 and 8, 8 points, 8 assists throughout the season. Eventually, getting the interest from Zwolle, where I am right now, where I have been for the last 6 years. And this is pretty much, where I've kind of stuck around because, the organization, the way I felt at home here, it was just perfect for me. It was a perfect fit. We've done a lot of things here. We won our champions. My second year, we won the first championship ever here in the city. We won the Super Cup for the first time in history. We played in the Europe Cup, which was nuts.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time, traveled to Tel Aviv, to Kiev. Where else? Cyprus. We went all over the place, which was an amazing experience, and one that was done for the first time while I was here. So managed to play with my brother last year.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. So and my youngest brother from Franklin Pierce, he plays now in Den Helder where I started.
Oh.
So it's all coming full circle. So it's not that all 3 brothers managed to play in this league. And I got to play with my brother last year, which was great.
So when you played in, you said you played in Europe. Like, how was that experience? Were you the first time that your team was in it, or was it this team from Holland that are in it before? Has been.
It was the first. It was the first time we were in it. As when you win a championship or a cup, you get an automatic bid into European league.
Yeah.
So because we had won for the first time, we got the bid to go in, and we took the opportunity because who knows if we ever make it that high again, because we have some pretty good teams in our league.
Yeah.
And that was like it kind of intertwines with your league, so you play at least 12 to 20 more games than you would regular season. But
so pretty much, so like, isn't it like you would do like what is it, like a weekday game would be not one league and then the other game would be.
Yeah, so it was actually the weekday games would always be Europe, be it away or be it at home. It was always the weekday, and the weekends would be the domestic league. And sometimes you'd have to postpone and kind of schedule it for another day. But the crazy thing is with the European leagues is it's very cheap. You're very cheap. You're not staying there for a day to prepare and a day after to recover. It's kind of play the game at night, and the next morning, 7 a.m, you're going home.
Yeah.
So, it was tough because you always want to kind of experience the places you go to.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So, Tel Aviv, we woke up at me and my teammates, some of our teammates, we woke up at 6 a.m. We had to leave at 10 a.m. We'd take the train quickly to the city, have a coffee on the beach, just to kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah.
Just did it kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing experience to do, for sure.
Yeah, that's dope. So I mean, so now you just said that you signed what, 2 more years, or?
No. I'm actually, I think I'm done.
Oh, okay.
Because this year, during the summer, a lot of headaches, a lot of pains. As an athlete, you think stiff neck, stiff shoulders, something. That's it's a tension headache. It kept going, dry needling, did all that stuff. Chiropractor, it wouldn't go away, and eventually, during preseason, I couldn't see out my right eye, and I was like, okay, something's not right here. This might be something more. And eventually, I got an MRI, CT scan, and they had found a tumor behind my right eye. So it was on one of the nerves where I couldn't see from, where it would shut the sight from my right eye.
Yeah.
Luckily, I mean that the surgery was a success. It was kind of, so they kind of lifted my eyebrow, a flap up 10 centimeters through, destroyed it, got it out. The only bad thing was because it was stuck on my pituitary, where all your hormones are created. It's now kind of shook up the whole system. So it's kind of now, I'm taking hydrocortisone 3 times a day. I'm taking a thyroid tablet in the morning. I got to take some testosterone and something for my fluid balance as well. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff, and it's kind of looking now. If I'm healthy enough, I'll just play somewhere else. So I've retired. I've quit my basketball here in Zwolle, and kind of just rehabbed as if I'm injured and I'm looking to be healthy again. Then I'll play somewhere, but. As it's looking now, I kind of think it's a wave goodbye for the career, which sucks.
I mean, it was a great run, though. I mean, essentially, you were able to accomplish a lot. I mean, especially from where we started from where I remember you from.
From the granite freshman.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even before that, essentially, because when you came to the school before, like, until like where you are now, it's a really good run, and a lot of people that love basketball, that play basketball, don't get an opportunity to play for that long. So.
Exactly. This is exactly what I say to people that say, that this is so bad, but it's like so many nice moments to look back at. one thing that they did really nicely at the club, they've retired my jersey, so no one can play with number 7. They've kind of put that in which is really cool, kind of send for me as a thank you for all that we've experienced together as an organization, which is great. And like you said, how many people can do what I do for this long? I'm actually more grateful than anything about it. It's just ends,
Yeah, no, it's definitely unfortunate, but it's, I mean, at the end of the day, it's you've been able to accomplish a lot in your career, and even from college, I mean, being able to play multiple levels and all that, it's like a lot of people that haven't done that, and it's
exactly,
and it's, I mean, it's great to see too. I mean, for especially being at Franklin Pierce, like, everyone that's gone and has played overseas, I've obviously always followed, even before, like the players that were there before me that I didn't even know, and I still would follow. So it's like, to see players actually have a full career it's pretty great. I mean, like Joe, for example, I think Joe, she's just finished her season. I mean, she's been playing for like 11 years.
Killing. Yeah. She did. I was a bit of London as well, and she's made such a massive club out of London. Just all the accomplishments that she's made over there. I think they did great in Europe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
nice.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's like, I mean, even yesterday I was watching, it was Celtics and Celtics in Miami, and they had 2 players. Both teams had players that played Division II, like I think Derek White played Division II, and
Duncan.
Was it Strus?
Robertson as well.
Well, Duncan Robinson actually played Division III.
Yeah, true.
He played Division III, but I think it was Strus or Gabe Vincent. Either one of those. I think it was either Strus or Gabe Vincent. One of them started off D2, and then they transferred to DePaul. And I was like, like there's still that, this it's a lot more to the game than this. Me growing up, everything was all like, you got to go D1, like D1. Yeah, like, who you got after you? Like, what schools on your list type shit. Yeah. It's like, I mean, for me, realistically, I mean, growing up in New York, it was a lot of great basketball, but I knew that I wasn't going D1. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I knew that I could play. Though. I knew that I could play. Yeah. I knew that I wasn't going D1. And for me, the whole mindset of people were like, I mean, even now too, is like, what's your list of schools?
Yeah, it's more status these days.
Yeah.
But what you see more now is people actually taking the time to think, oh, shit, they play ball in D2 too, or D3 as well. I've seen over many years in this league and in leagues where my brother plays. It's like, you look up those players on the other team and you're like, hey, where do they come from? What are they doing? And you see numerous people coming from Division 2. I had an old teammate last year who played Division 2 somewhere in Nazarene, but now he's playing for the top team in Holland, in Europe, and he was number 5 in most efficient players. And you see these D2 players, it's not about the school, it's about how you play and how you take the opportunity you're given. It's the same thing. You could go to D1, but you'll sit on the bench and you won't get your chance.
Yeah.
Where we can show our qualities because we will get the opportunities on court.
Yeah,
and I think it's becoming more realistic now, and more people looking into that, because the youngsters on the team here, they're also getting like the Division 1, but you want to check that. Do they have seniors on the following seniors coming on the team? Because that was also minutes, because that plays a part in America, which many Europeans don't really realize, is the coaches do have a sort of bond with the players. They grow up with the bond. So I think for my thing, it was Manch and Kennard. There was a certain relationship with Coach Chadbourne, where it becomes more of, it's a family. It's actually a family kind of thing, where you give the opportunities, obviously, to the older players, and it's something, it's respectable. It's nothing I was ever angry about. I understood it more or less, but it's something you got to take into account.
Yep. I mean, and I think now is even harder because now with the whole transfer portal and everything, and people
Oh,
just
geez.
in extra years. So this kid's
Corona years, yeah.
yeah. So this kid's doing it 5, 6 years. So it's like you got to factor in all that. Like if he's been there for 4 years, he still might have one more year now. Like all that stuff. So.
I mean, that's a tough one too, because if you have an aspiration to go professional, teams do look at ages. So it's a sensitive thing when you come out of college and you're a 26-year-old freshman or a 26-year-old rookie.
Yeah.
You know, you get looked upon a little different because, you know, your potential, your ceiling is a little lower than a younger player because you can teach a younger player more.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that, you know, I had a conversation with my youngest brother about, Sam, who was at Franklin Pierce. He could have also gone for another Corona year. And for him, it was also, okay, what do you want to do? You want to be a pro? You want to get another degree?
Yeah.
And then it comes down to, okay, you want to be a pro? Well, you've got to get the pro experience.
Yeah.
Because it's so much different to college.
Exactly. And like there's a documentary with Coach Calipari, and he's talking about, like, you know, how he always sends players over. I mean, like, to the NBA and overseas and all that stuff. And he's like, you know, like, as an athlete, of any sport, you only have so many years of playing that sport. Obviously,
Exactly.
for some people might be a bigger, some might be smaller, but you only have a certain amount of years. So it's like you could spend that time doing it for free, essentially, in college. But you have the opportunity to do it for money. So it's like you gotta. A lot of people, you know, sometimes think, you know, I gotta do this extra year to get better. But it's like to get in that situation. But it might be better for you to start at a lower level by leaving and then working your way up, because you actually see you play against the real the talent that. You know.
No, I agree, but it's also, it's very it's divides by country. So you know, I leave Holland and I go to Germany. I have to build up my image, and it's not like I jump from top league Holland to top league Germany. You have to start in the country again and gain your respect. So also with that, your age comes into a factor. You know, as a 30-year-old, I wouldn't think it's smart of me to go to a different country now, unless I've absolutely killed. You know, unless if I in Germany or Spain, I would have to start low. And I'm telling you, that's 4 years. So 34-year-old, you know, kind of on the edge.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sensitive thing, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also too. So I see me and one of my former teammates that he actually just retired a couple of years ago too. He lives in Germany, and we created this guide to going pro, like just giving people a guide to going pro. And a lot of it is because that very thing. A lot of people don't understand, because I mean, even now, I always have like athletes that I work with that always ask me for tips of, like, you know, how to play overseas and all that. And it's like you gotta really focus before, because like you said, if you go 4 years in one country, but you really want to go play in another country, then that's 4 years taken away, because now you got to restart over in that country. Like you unless you like really dominating, you know what I'm saying? Like and that type of thing, is like it's very hard to like be the same player once you go from one country to the next. So if you know which country you want to go in, it might be easier just to start at the bottom and just work your way up that way, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that, you know, I take most the most important things that I've learned from my career is humbling yourself in the fact that, like you said, maybe start low just for the opportunity and prove your worth for your next contract. I think, you know, my first year was you know, I was getting, what was it, maybe 600 a month. And then it's for me, it was kind of, hey, just give me a contract, let me show what I got, and then we'll talk financials, you know. So for me, it was kind of investing in myself my first year, and then reaping the benefits as I grew, because now, you know, I've showed myself, I've proven myself in this league, kind of thing. So that was one thing that, you know, I kind of just put my feet on the ground and said, okay, you know what, just give me a chance, just put my foot in the door, and I'll take it in. And also, just I think the most difficult thing is just agreeing with a coach, no matter what they say, even if they're wrong. I think that's the most difficult thing. And in college, you have little symptoms of it where the coach, he can decide your playing time, but you know, overseas he can send you home.
Yeah.
And it's a relationship because he's controlling your brand. So however you act there, he can either send you home, he cannot play you, and then you lose your stats, and then that's it. Dream's over. So for me, it was always kind of, you know, just take everything in, wrong or right, and just play your game, but don't try and control things that you can't control, and things will go your way. And those are the two things, you know, are most important as a pro. Just being to yourself more.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think a lot more people are aware now, as far as players go, as far as like this is like a business type of thing. I think years ago, I mean, obviously we knew that it was, but it was just like, you know, I just want to play. You know, I just want to play overseas, just type of thing. But like, as you really when you get into it, you really understand that it is a business. You know, like you have the situation that you had where you wasn't getting paid, or I had a situation where they weren't paying taxes for 10 years. And it's like, damn, I just thought I was just coming here to play. You know, like, you don't think about like the other factors
Exactly.
into it till you're there.
Yeah. It's a weird business, man, but it's one you can take advantage of if you play it right. It's just hard to get your head around because you still live in that. In the first year, you live in that bubble of, hey, I'm playing, I'm doing what I want, I'm paid for doing what I love, and you kind of hide in that blur because you don't see the things going on behind the scenes until you get more into the world. But yeah, I mean, it's nice though. It's good. I still think it's a shame that you didn't keep going, man. I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think about it sometimes, but at the same time, I was just like, I never thought there was never a time like within that space where I was like, oh, I want to go back, because I always had the opportunity to. Like, even like 5 years,
numbers, right? You were having good numbers.
Yeah, no, I was averaging pretty good numbers. I mean, and I had teams hit me up like even years after, but I was just like, my mindset was just like, I'm done. You know, like I don't know, just that's just how I am sometimes. I don't really regret not playing. I just the only thing I do regret is a little bit more of the experience, because like where I lived in Germany was I didn't get to complete the season, which sucked, and where I lived was like a very small town, so it was almost like a Ranger effect. So like for me, leaving wasn't bad, it wasn't terrible either, because I was like, I wasn't doing shit there. You know, I literally was just playing. Like we would go out on the weekends after games, and that was it. Like it was nothing else to do there. So for me, like leaving there, I was like, all right, this is literally like Ringe 2.0, but now like I don't have school. Like I'm just around now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which could be worse though, because the thing you've got to get used to as a basketball player, it's a solitary life. Yeah. Like there's a lot of time where we practice twice a day, and you know, the time you don't practice, you're in a nap, or you're chilling because you're trying to recover.
Yeah.
So there's the social that goes out the window, and that's the big sacrifice. And you know, that's something that a lot of people don't get used to, especially time, because you get to go home and dip when the typical thing is a dip for foreign players when they come back, because they're like, shit, I miss home. You know, it's almost summertime, I want to be back, and you see that typically throughout any country, is that especially with new players. And that's something that you see a lot. It's the homesickness.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. It really does hit you, especially when you like where you're at. I think if I was in like Berlin or something, I think it would be a totally different experience. Because it just seemed a little different. Even when we went to like a little bit bigger cities, it just seemed a little bit different. But I mean, and I didn't really mind it because I was used to like the New Hampshire life. It's like I think like, I mean, as crazy as New Hampshire like living there was for like someone from New York. people don't really like when I show people pictures, people from New York, they're like, "What? Like, why would you go to that?" But it didn't seem like that when you were there, though. It didn't seem like the because it's like the school was the actual like city, you know, like everything was in the
place. Yeah. But
so
that was
like it's a little bit different.
That's the beauty of it. Everyone's there, so no one goes away. So so my other college in Kansas City, people dip. They just went like, "Yo, I'm after the city." Rings, you don't do that. You stay together. So the campus was, I don't know how many people, but there wasn't people that were like, "I'm going to go out in Boston. I was going to drive an hour and a half and then an hour." Some people do sometimes. But it's not often. Most of the time, is let's stay on campus.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's because it was like 1,700 people, I think. But yeah, that was it. I mean, there was only a few people that lived off campus, and they were like 10 minutes away. So it was like it wasn't like a town that people lived in or anything. Everyone was right there, so it didn't feel as little of a town. But when you go there after, you're like, this is nothing here. There's literally nothing. There's no sidewalk. There's no sidewalk in Ranch.
You gotta go to Keene. I remember Keene, or the thing that was typical was go to Big Earl's.
Yeah,
that was going out for a meal. Going was 2 minutes down the road. And then
exactly.
That was it.
Yeah, I mean, going to Keene was like a big thing.
It was
like it's like you go in 20 minutes. You're gonna go to Keene, or if you go on Thursday night, you got the $1 drinks.
Yep, that was it. That was it. See,
the thing about Keene, though, it sucked though, is you had to be 20. You really had to be 21 to go out to like go to the bar. So it was like that was like a real achievement. Like, all right, I'm old enough now.
Yeah, that's the one thing I remember was like freshman year was like, oh, the older boys are going to the different city. We were stuck. I remember that. It was the tough days. From England, I'm going out when I was like 18. Well, 18 was legal, right? To America, and I can't even drink. I was like, what? Obviously, I did, but
you went in reverse.
Yeah.
No, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing when I went to Germany, though. I mean, I was 20. I was 22 when I went there, but I was like, there was like, we had the younger team, the 19 and under, and there was kids, they're like 17, and they getting trashed outside, like drinking beers and shit. Like, I was like, damn.
Europe.
And I understand how it is because it's like the lifestyle is different. You live that lifestyle, you don't look at it the same way. I think for Americans, like when we get to college, we're like, we're gonna get blackout because we're doing this shit.
Yeah, I agree. It's because everyone looks forward to that 21 age, and then it's just going nuts. Whereas in England, you kind of get slow. I mean, there are obviously times where you get slowly transition into that nightlife where you've already had that kind of over at 18. Okay, let's not go too far overboard every time. But that's the college life. Is where everyone goes to college. They're like, okay, parents aren't about. Let's go nuts. Let's get a.
I also think too, it's about like your family. So like a lot of people that I know from Europe, they were drinking beers with their family at like 6.
Yeah.
So like they that was a part of So I was drinking my first alcohol in front of with my family, so in a comfortable setting. So like in America, it's like you're not really doing that. So it's like a thing you do when you're away from your family. So it's like, oh, this is my like guilty pleasure type shit, and now let me just drink shots.
Like a deal, you go crazy.
Yeah. I'm like, because it's like it's crazy, like the difference of like just life, so like just playing or just going.
But in America, what I did in America, that whole lifestyle, I mean, that was it for me. I was kind of like checking off the list, and once I went pro, it was like, I obviously had the nights out, but there comes a certain time where you're like, okay, well, I got to be ready tomorrow, or I got to be ready. You get an age where you get a hangover for 2 days, So for me, it was like, it's not worth it anymore. You know, I'll have a drink here and there, but I got to be ready for practice.
Yeah.
I've had, the party time was over. America was over.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, I mean, obviously, as you get older, I mean, I still go out, but it's not this. It's definitely nothing like.
No, it's not. You got to be more conscious of yourself. You can't.
And I think for us too was also the fact that you played sports, so it was like there were a lot of days where you couldn't drink when you watched everybody else drink, and you just couldn't. So it was like the day that you did, it was just like, all right, now I'm making up for old time, like type of shit. Like how many Friday nights I just stayed in the crib and just heard everybody drunk, just doing dumb shit, and I'm like, no, I gotta focus. Like
for sure. I think the worry was that you guys would always say, "Oh, he's from England." You know, freshman year, I got to be like, "Yeah, you know, of course I do. Let me show you how it's done." In the back of my head, I'm like, "Oh shit, here we go again."
You gotta put the whole country in your back now.
Yeah. Shit.
But I mean, the Breaker Prince had a lot of people from Europe, though. A lot of English people.
Yeah, yes,
really did. Sure.
The soccer team.
Yeah.
The soccer team, a lot of English people, which was great. The coach was English. Assistant coach was English, I think.
Yeah.
That was, you know.
Guys and girls soccer had people from Europe. The women's team had people from Europe. Yeah, they had some Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh, for a school that small, it was a lot of like people from overseas.
Diversity. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was nice though, because it just you don't have then that one or two persons that just kind of feels outcast. Say there was always kind of a person you could do the story with, which was great, which helped me a lot. But it was I really enjoyed it.
I guess just coming from another country and then going to a place like Range is just totally different. I mean, I know it was different for me. I mean, I was coming from literally like our high school was I think it's like the third most populated high school in the country. We had like 5,000 kids in my high school. And then I'm going to Range college, 1,700 people. I'm like, this is not like, what is this? Like,
what am I doing?
I'm like, wait. Like I'm going from like just a busy, and then just like we're between two mountains and like
mountain. Yeah, for sure. But it's nice though, man. I mean, we got to play ball our whole career, you know, from freshman onwards, which was crazy. Which is you don't see a lot. You know, we actually, and that's one thing that helps a lot is experience. I think that's one of the best things you can have, and it's one thing I got from practicing with the professional team before I went to America. Is, you know, I'm not talking like I was doing things on court. You know, I was that youngster. You know, the one that kind of messed up here and there, but that experience helped me so much that I didn't even realize until I played with my age group. And it's something, you know, you try and tell the younger teams now, the younger players, is you just play, just be involved. And you don't even realize, even though you make mistakes, you're going to grow so much quicker than if you work out with your age group the whole time. It's just setting the limits a little higher here and here and here. And I think with college, that helped us because we gained experience throughout our years instead of, finally playing our senior or junior year. Yeah, and that's one of the biggest advantages.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, NE10 was really good. That was like, I mean, they were like the second best Division II in the country. Yeah. So I mean, the level of competition was really high. So that was also it. I mean, and also what you were talking about before is a great example that is Luka. Like if you look at Luka, by the time he was a rookie, he was already MVP, and you know what I'm saying? Like he had a full career. He already had a full career.
He wasn't a rookie, and that's the thing. You know, it's the experience. Well, that's what a few Americans have done from high school, isn't it? Is they've actually gone to Europe to play, and instead of going to college, they've gone to Europe to play to get that experience, and you see it a lot more. I think my brother is a really good example of going when you're young is he went to Spain. He signed a 6-year contract. But for him, it was you start so young. They engrave a system that they love, and you kind of you grow up in being a professional. So he was younger than me when I went pro, but he was a bigger vet. He was like a 6-year vet when I came out of college, and I was first year pro, and then I'm learning from him how to play, and that was kind of the crazy thing is, you know, you get experience from playing, nothing else, not from watching it. Well, you learn from watching it, but the experience is what really makes you grow.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, if you, I mean, a lot of players are doing. LaMelo Ball did it. A lot of players just getting that experience, especially now. Especially if you're at a level where you know that you're gonna go to the NBA, you have different options now. It's like,
of course, for sure.
There's so many leagues, and like now they have different leagues now that they created. Now you can go to the G League now and all that other stuff. It's like, because they understand that you gotta play, and if you're gonna play, I might as well play for some money. If I know that I'm gonna play in the league, like if it's like I'm heavy and I want to get my degree, that's different. But it's like if I know I'm gonna play in the league, if I'm gonna play, I might as well play for some money. Even you know what I'm saying? Like
it's you. You're your own product. So you've got to shape yourself into the highest paid product that you can be, and that's, you know, growing into systems and gaining experience and whatever you can to get that advantage, be it earlier going professional or, you know, nutrition. You just find your way because you are your own brand, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, especially now. I mean, even college are realizing now they have the NIL. And like people really getting their money, and I'm jealous that it's happening now, but at the same time, I'm happy that it's happening. I'm happy that it's happening.
Yeah. Same for me. You know, it's nice to see that they're finally there. I mean, it's a little late, but it's better late than never, right? And you know, as long as they're.
And it's like the NCAA, they felt that pressure, and that's why it was good that these players did what they did. They stay left and all that, because that's the reason why that this happened. So, like, you know, because the NCAA felt the pressure of like, all right, we can't get these top guys now, so we got to do something to leverage this out. And I mean, and a lot of people think it's just for like, you know, the top guys, and that's not true. That's really not true, because there's people getting NIL deals of just your local teams, because these small towns have their school is the biggest thing there. So you know, they're offering these players, like, you know, the local whatever car dealership or whatever, you know, they all. So it's like there's a lot of opportunities for all levels.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's one thing that's important is, you know, one thing that I really value is to show that, you know, it doesn't, you don't have to be a superstar to play pro. You don't have to be the ultimate scorer, the MVP on your team. You could just be a hard worker, and I think that's one thing that, you know, I value a lot, is proving that, you know, it doesn't take the highest score on the team. You know, we had Eric. You know, if you fine tune and specialize in your role on a team, people will see it. Not everyone looks at stats, and that's, you know, you have a winning record on a winning team and you're doing well. Video now, they have something called Insta. They watch the clips of you involved in plays, and they, you know, it's not always about the points anymore. It's about what you can bring to a team.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I'm a stickler for like the analytics, like, you know, all the advanced stats, and some of them I do hate, but at the same time, it does show a lot about a single player's production. You know,
yeah,
like
of course. But I'm
like deflections, things like that, like little things that are key in the game that you don't really have, you didn't have stats of before, like you know, deflections or just minor.
Yeah. Efficiency is very important. You know, you can average 20, but how many shots does it take to get the average? But you know, from my standpoint, it's, you know, as stats can be used very importantly. So are the quality of the time you're on the court. You know, it can bring a lot of value to a team.
Definitely. So we're gonna wrap it up. This is a great another segment here of Hoopla. But before we leave, I always like to ask everyone this question. So let us know like two things: your favorite player and your favorite team, your favorite players and your favorite team growing up, and then now. So growing up, your favorite player, favorite team, and then now your favorite players and your favorite team.
NBA, right? We're talking NBA?
NBA.
Or anywhere. Houston Rockets,
NBA,
Tracy McGrady.
No, NBA and everywhere.
Okay. When I grew up, it was Houston Rockets, Tracy McGrady. And now it's, it has been Milos Teodosic.
Okay.
And I followed him a lot. Huh?
And where does he play?
He plays at Virtus Bologna now, but he played for the LA Clippers. He was for Serbia.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You know him.
Crazy vision, right?
Yes, that's the guy. And then there was you got the Ricky Rubio, and there was Diamantis. Shit, I forgot his name, but he played for Panathinaikos. Tall point guard, legend. But those are the players that I look at and admire the most.
All right. The Tracy McGrady Houston, that surprised me.
Come on, man. That's why I was born.
Yeah.
And the one thing that killed me was his whatever amount he scored in 30 seconds to beat San Antonio Spurs, my favorite team.
Oh yeah.
That broke my heart.
Like 20 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, he had 18 points to seconds, and and that was on my San Antonio Spurs because that's my favorite team. I'm ride or die, Popovich.
Well, yeah. I mean, my favorite team, the Knicks. So, unfortunately, we're working our way. We're working our way up.
Yeah, man. RJ Barrett. He's becoming one.
RJ Barrett is actually, I think RJ Barrett is going to be an all-star in a couple of years. I mean, Obi is not that bad. I think we got to make a lot of moves. It's a lot. We don't have any star power. We're not going to get any star power realistically in free agency, I don't think. We got to just do a trade.
Randall, man.
Nah. I don't hate Randall, but I just don't think Randall can be. Nah, I think he has to be like your third best.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. I mean, you got a lot of development, man.
Yeah. It's a lot going on. Unless something drastic happened, unless we can take somebody off somebody's hands and they become great, that's the only way. And it's not. You needed
Harden or Simmons just sneak him in there, but
yeah. We need somebody to get like somebody that's a star to be upset about their team, and the Knicks are like, come on.
I want to go to New York.
It's like it would have to be like Donovan Mitchell, like him and Rudy Gobert. They already don't like each other.
Yeah.
He's from New York. You gotta be
like, hey, come on, man.
Yeah, you gotta just give him the man. We'll give them like I don't know. We give him Julius Randle.
You gotta do something.
Some shit. All right. So thank you, Nigel, for joining another episode of Hoopla. That was a great interview. Make sure you catch the whole episode right here, YouTube or Hooper's Connection. So Hooper's Connection is a online community of Hoopers, and you could just share your stories. You could share videos, clips, highlights, thoughts on different things. Hooper's Connection is free to join, hoopersconnection.com. Nigel, where can the people find you? Your IG, all that good stuff.
The IG, Nigel VO. And that's about it. I don't know. That's it. Only IG.
Nigel VO, you can find him on Eurobasket. You gotta subscribe. Alright, thank you for another episode of Hoopla, and we out of here. Peace.
Thanks, man.